Hello and welcome to part 1 of the restoration videos of my Capcom Pinball Magic. There's probably not going to be as many videos for this restoration series just because I'm quite a lot further along before actually shooting any video on this one. So if we just pan up and have a look where we are, you can see at the moment basically everything has been stripped off the game and cleaned up, and I'm in the process of rebuilding at the moment. So pretty much everything on the underside of the playfield has already gone back on. All the mechs came off, all the boards came off, everything got cleaned up, tumbled, etc. And everything's pretty much gone back on quite nicely. I've got a little bit of work to do on the drop target bank. The decals that I bought for it, the new ones, aren't particularly great, and they keep falling off, so I'm going to have to get some better glue or some double-sided tape. There's a few bits and pieces still to go on that kind of come through. I'll show some of the mechanisms because they're quite interesting, some of the mechanisms on this game. It's got some pretty complicated stuff on it. Later on. One thing that is different about Capcom games is the playfield support mechanism. It's difficult to do this one-handed, so I'll try and show it. But as you can see, there's a sort of bracket there, and then little rollers that run on the runners up to the back. So if I try and pull it down, it kind of slides up. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to show this, but it pivots on the little runners and then locks in a sort of upright position. If I step back, you can kind of see it locked up. It makes it really easy for working on the bottom. I've not quite figured out how to get it to come out of the game on the flat. I think it's supposed to pivot on some little arms. Let me show you this little arm here. But when you do pivot it forward, the weight, the size of this actually fouls on the lockdown bar down here, so you can't actually use that. So, but it's not been too much of a problem. What I'll do is I'll flip the playfield down and then show you the top side of the playfield. So here we're on the top side of the playfield. As you can see, this is where most of the work is still left to do. The only thing that's really gone back on so far, I've just started putting on the metal ball guides at the back, but everything else, all I've done is clean up and wax the playfield, clean up the targets, put those back in. But we're kind of in the point now where it's time to rebuild the top side of the playfield and put the major mechanisms back on. Like I say, this game's got some really cool toys, I guess you'd call them, some features. There's the magic wand and the levitating ball stage. I'll show those mechanisms. I've got them off the game at the moment, but I'm not sure I'm going to get a decent... The playfield's cleaned up lovely, actually. I'm really pleased with it. It was a good playfield anyway, it was just a bit dirty, but once I cleaned it up, and then also I've given it a bit of wax, it's probably not the best light for showing this, but cleaned up really nice. There's no real wear to speak of anywhere. I think it's a really nice playfield overall. So when the game's back together, it should come up really nice. I've used a new wax this time as well. Let's see if I can show that. So this is the new wax I've used this time. Normally on every other game I've used Gurlitt's number 1, which is a guitar wax, but you have to order it online, and I didn't realise I'd ran out, so I needed some reasonably short notice. So this I got from Halfords. It's Simonized with Carnauba. And it's a really good job. It seems to have gone on really nicely and worked quite well. You can't leave it to dry as long as you could with the Gurlitt's because it was a right nightmare to get off. But once I realised that, it's come up quite nice. The playfield was good anyway, like I say, so it's just added a little bit of shine. Hopefully that comes across in the video. But like I say, no major wear on the playfield. All the inserts are good. All the artwork looks good. And most of the major components as well are really good. I quite like the design of these Capcom games. They've designed really well. Came apart reasonably easy, with one exception, which was, I don't know why they did this, but this just seems the most ridiculous. This back ball guide, you can see there, it goes underneath, under here, it goes underneath the backboard. So getting that out, because it's bolted in through the playfield, was an absolute nightmare. I had to unbolt all the brackets, loosen a load of bolts off underneath, and then kind of push this back and force it out. I don't know why they did it like that. It made it really difficult to get out and put back in. But other than that, that's the only sort of really tricky bit that I've come across. Everything else is as simple as a Bally Williams game, and in some cases actually designed a little bit better and a bit easier to work on. So what I'll do, I'll show you some of the mechanisms that have come off the game, and then I'll continue to populate the playfield and shoot some more video when we've got a bit more stuff to look at. Okay, so these are some of the sort of playfield toys, I guess, that have come off the game. This is the mechanism that controls the levitating ball trick. It's like stage curtains that open, and then there's another part of it that's actually back on the game that makes a fake ball levitate up to, almost appears like the ball's levitating up onto the ramp. It's a really cool cool mechanism. Again, all of these things I've taken out of the game, completely stripped down, cleaned up, and then put back together, replaced anything that needs replacing. But to be honest, again, the quality of the parts was pretty good. There wasn't really anything broken, which is good really, because some of these Capcom parts are really, really difficult to get hold of. And then the other sort of big toy, this is without the plastic hand that sits and covers all of this part of it, but this is the magnetic magic wand that the ball, let's see if I can show, the ball when it goes up the ramp kind of comes in up here, and then these two coils magnetise this metal rod that's the magic wand, and the ball sort of suspends underneath it and drops into a ramp. It's a really, really cool effect. And then obviously next to it you can see big pile of shiny bits and pieces. This is all the screws, bolts, nuts, posts, everything needed to repopulate the top of the playfield. So that's the next job. I shall crack on with that, and then we'll come back when there's a bit more to look at. So we're about halfway through repopulating the top of the playfield. Not much down the bottom, but if I pan up, you can see there's a lot more stuff on the back of the game now than there was earlier. It's been a bit tricky actually. From saying it's quite a well designed game, quite easy to take apart, it's a bit harder to put it back together. Some of the things have to go in a very specific order. So there's a couple of times where I put something on and then realised I had to take it off again to get it back, the next piece on in the right way. So just, it's one of these you've got to take your time over. You can see the magic trunk where the ball's lock is back on, and the top part of the ramp, there's the magic wand hand fully rebuilt, and the levitating ball stage with all the various plastic bits and stuff that go around it. So this is kind of about halfway through. I've got to do the bottom half of the playfield. You can see the little extras that I've added. So the coloured Cliffy post sleeves, got some purple and some red, and a blue one there. So I'm going to carry on populating the rest of it. Hopefully it won't take too much longer, and then it'll be a case of testing it all out, make sure it still works properly, and then play it. So we'll be back soon.